Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little assessment of Prime for you. She's got a lot of anxiety right now, but they all do when they first come in here. So how much of this anxiety is why am I here and where are my mom and dad, and how much of the anxiety is what she lives with every day, I'll only be able to tell with time. But I thought I'd do a little assessment for you and kind of talk to you about drives and what I see from her right now. So I'm going to start working her. Let's go. And what I see with Prime is she's very aware of where her handler is, but she's always more concerned about what's going on out here. So she's air scenting right now. And investigating my employee who's walking near my backyard. But in general, even if nothing's going on, she's looking for something. So this is a really common thing I see in all hunting breeds. And she has a really strong sense of smell. No. So this is prey drive is what this is. We refer to this as prey drive, which is, air scenting or looking outward into the world instead of pack drive, which is acknowledging me. Like even right here, she's scenting over there. She's got something in the bushes over there. So that's just like a really, really quick assessment when I bring a dog out is like, where is their attention? Yesterday, her attention was even less on me and more on the outside world, but I think that's because she was kind of looking for you a little bit. So today, she's over that, and now she's just kind of, I feel like, settling in more to, probably pay attention to the norm, which is everything else. Like, the handler is there, and I'm somewhat aware of it, but I'm way more interested in the outside world. So, a lot of people might consider that a dog, but that's actually only one side of the dog. Dogs have multitude of sides to them, just like people do. And this side is the hunting side. So, this side is being a prey drive state, this is what a predator does, right? And unfortunately, even though this might be what a dog does, it's not what a pet does. So where most people kind of struggle and get dogs that don't walk well on leashes or lunge at things or just in general have low levels of impulse control. Good. Is because she's not tapped into her pack drive. She doesn't know what pack drive probably really is very much. So, let's go. Good girl. Yeah. My board and train program is almost centered around drives. And obviously I try to explain it to my clients as much as I can, but they're not as well versed at it, even after training with me, as I am with all my experience. But because she's in a predatory state the majority of her life, this is going to make her appear to have endless amounts of energy, because the brain doesn't have to actually work very hard at being in that state of mind. And it's also an adrenalizing state of mind. So when she's air scenting and looking for prey animals, she's actually loading adrenaline in her system, which will, if you've ever had an adrenaline rush, will automatically give her tons of energy. But it's adrenaline energy, so it's not real. And then that actually becomes very exhausting and anxiety-ridden for a dog eventually, to live in that state of mind on a daily basis. So, because I don't want her, hunting all the time and, losing control of her impulses, like, oh, there's a rabbit, I'm not supposed to chase it, or like my neighbor drove away. And she was like, oh my gosh, so I need to go and run towards that neighbor just now in the video. I can tell that some of this excess energy and anxiety is also creating a dog who doesn't have impulses. Like, oh, I see a dog, I lunge, not I see a dog, I ignore them, I'm on a leash with my mom and dad. So in order to create impulse control and also just a desire to please the handler and be in tune with the handler, I need to bring out pack drive. Good girl. And in these first phases, these first few days of a dog staying with me, pretty much this is what I do. This is pretty much all I do. What you're seeing now in the video. And actually what I'm doing, come, hi. No. What I'm doing is building her pack drive. So every time she gets on a scent or a smell, like she just did there, I change direction. So what that does is it actually, come. Good. Sit. Sit. It actually redirects her attention from that prey drive state of mind onto me. So you can build drive. You can actually build more or less of it if you want. There are levels in which the dog will cap out depending on how high their drives are. Because not all dogs have high pack drives or prey drives. So prep, come. Sit. Good job. Let's go. So if a dog is limited in their ability to be in pack drive, it can only build it so high. I can tell she has a high pack drive even though she's all over the place, because even when she's in prey drive, there's a level of focus that's centered on me. She always kind of wants to know where I'm at. Prey drive is by allowing them to stay in that state of mind while you're walking them. So, you know, your experiences in downtown, she's in prey drive a lot, and you didn't know how to get her attention on you. And so what that was doing was actually building a higher state of predatory prey drive by walking on a short leash while she's air scenting and investigating everything else but her handler. Let's go. Good. So I'm building pack drive because every time I see her disengage with me and look in the outside world, I change direction. And when I do, she heads back in my direction and also looks at me. Right? And that's what I'm trying to build more of. I'm trying to build more engagement. So if I see her, you know, that's clearly disengaging with her handler, and I change direction and I get that brain recentered on me. Let's go. Good. Sit. I get the brain recentered on me instead of the smells that she's after. Sit down. Do you not like to sit on gravel? Sit. I'm going to get a dog that's naturally more inclined to look at me for direction, especially in a situation where maybe they're not supposed to be impulsive, like seeing a dog. So that way we have better means to communicate and engage with each other. So this is the starting point of my training, and you can even see in the video that, like, this connection right here, all it is rooted on me not walking with her or allowing her to stay in this predatory state for very long. Good girl. I refer to this as switching drives. That's exactly what I'm doing over and over and over again. Every time she gets in prey drive, I redirect her, her attention refocuses on me, and then my next move depends on how long she can stay in pack drive. So you notice I'm really, really making a lot of movement right now. And that's because her nose is constantly going, and so I need to keep the brain constantly engaged at this point in training. Here. We're never going to be able to turn this dog's nose off. I've worked with lots of Vizslas and Weimaraners and other breeds similar to this, and there's just no turning it off. But what her prey drive does to her is it actually lures her out. So every time she catches wind, her entire body follows it. And this is why you're getting a dog that doesn't walk well on a leash, because that their mind is literally just following the scent. So, Prime, come. Good girl. Sit. Let's go. So every time I change direction, when she's in that drive, I am building her pack drive. I'm also teaching her how to pay attention to her handler and smell at the same time, and that's what's going to end up happening at the end of this boarding training. Is a dog, Prime, come. Good. A dog who can stay in a nice heel, and she's naturally going to air scent, but she's going to stay in her position, because her pack drive is going to override her prey drive after this. And this is what fulfilling all aspects of a dog looks like, which is acknowledging their level of prey drive and acknowledging that that's part of who they are, but also saying, hey, I need you to be a pet and a part of this pack. So I need to make sure that you understand that your pack drive needs to be the ultimate state of mind that you stay in. Here. What's super satisfying about the dog, about this for the dog, is that prey drive creates a lot of stress. Prime, come. Prey drive is a survival instinct. Sit. Let's go. And naturally, anything related to survival is stressful. It's anxiety-ridden. It's also really hard to be on alert all the time, if you can imagine always kind of being what is that? What is that? What is that? That's a heightened state, so that's not healthy. Not for prolonged periods, it isn't. Not knowing where their handler is or not caring means that the dog has not felt necessarily led in scenarios where maybe they felt stressed or fearful. So by bringing out our pack drive, we eliminate the overwhelming amount of stress it takes to be on alert, and we add handler engagement, which relieves the stress off her shoulders of needing to feel like she's maybe leading or in charge or making decisions. She can just look at you and say, oh, I'm not supposed to lunge after that dog? Okay, I'll just follow you then. So there's great benefit in switching these drives. It doesn't take anything away from her. If anything, it gives her more. It gives her the ability to turn on and off, which every dog who has an on and off switch is a happier dog, because they know how to actually self-soothe, come, and be a pet as well as a dog at the same time. So that's what we're doing right now. She's doing really well, especially for day 2, and I'm going to keep you posted.